Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Sports and Money with Benjamin Parker. It is a privilege to have you with us today. We're going back to Pittsburgh, the Steel City, to take another look at the draft that they just had and to talk about Ben Roethlisberger a little bit, who's taking a ton of hits over the past few days from fans and media alike. He's got some supporters who have blasted the Pittsburgh Steelers for using that third-round pick on a quarterback. We'll get into more of all of that in a second. First of all, I want to just take a generic overlook at the draft and what the Steelers did, and then we'll get back into the Ben Roethlisberger and Mason Rudolph stuff. They started off in the first round, number 28 overall. They got Edmonds, the safety. They had a massive hole at safety. Money-wise, they were forced to make a couple of cuts at safety, so they had a massive bleeding hole at safety. This was a good investment. They used a first-round pick to try to cover that. Edmonds should be a good player, so they're going to try to cover that hole with this first-round pick. They picked up Washington, wide receiver, number 60. He's not a big guy, so he's not going to directly replace Martavis Bryant, who was traded to the Raiders, but he should add depth back into that Steelers wide receiver rotation, which, by the way, the Steelers wide receiver rotation is very good. You've got, of course, Antonio Brown. You've got Washington added in there to the mix. You've got Schuster, who's turned into a very good wide receiver. You've got Le'Veon Bell, who gets about 80 to 90 catches a year out of the backfield. So they've got a lot of targets to throw to. I want to skip down to an interesting pick right here. Jalen Samuels from NC State, the running back, drafted very late. I think it's the 5th round draft pick. He's like a Swiss Army knife kind of guy. He's very flexible. A lot of people drafting a lot of flexible guys in the NFL this year. It's all the rage, and for a good reason. Samuels was able to play fullback, running back, tight end. He was good for a ton of catches every year at NC State. He was good for a lot of touches out of the backfield every year at NC State. He had about 6 yards a carry as a running back. He had about 9 yards a catch as a receiver. So Samuels really is another weapon that the Steelers are going to be able to use. Ben Roethlisberger is going to be able to tap into. The rest of these guys, Okorafor, Allen, Frazier, that's all just trying to add depth at different positions. I don't know if you'll see any super big impact out of that, but Samuel, certainly, you could see him on the field right away, spelling Bell, doing a lot of what Bell does. Probably not anywhere near as well as Bell does it, but still, here's a guy who can add you a lot of flexibility in the backfield and to do a lot of great things for you, I think, as he gets used to the NFL game. You ought to see him a lot as the season wears on. Let's go back to the controversy with Mason Rudolph getting drafted number 76 overall. Now, Ben Roethlisberger has come out over the past few days and said that he was surprised by the pick, said they thought the team could have used that pick on some other football players, said you can get a lot of good football players as a third-round draft pick. Now, I don't expect Ben Roethlisberger to be excited about talking about his replacement. Nobody wants to talk about their own demise, whether in death or in retirement or your replacement. I don't expect Ben Roethlisberger to be jumping up and down about any of this, but I do expect Ben Roethlisberger to be more understanding. There's one simple fact you simply cannot get away from when you look at this Mason Rudolph pick, and why I think the Steelers did the totally 100% right thing in selecting Mason Rudolph. And that fact is this: Steelers fans want to win just as much after Ben Roethlisberger is gone as they want to win right now. Do the Steelers and their fans want to try to grab another Super Bowl while Roethlisberger is still playing over the next couple of seasons? Of course they do. But they also don't want to fall into the depths of depravity after Roethlisberger is gone, and they've got a salary cap that is built to structure for him and not have any hope for the future. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'm going to get into some reasons, some very good reasons why they did this, but the Pittsburgh Steelers did what I think was a really, really, really good investment. They used one third-round draft pick on a quarterback. Listen, I don't know if Mason Rudolph is ever going to be a great NFL starter or even an average NFL starter. I don't know if he's going to be a bust or if he'll be a Hall of Famer. I don't know if he can move the ball down the field or not. What I do know is that by using one third-round pick on a quarterback spot on Mason Rudolph, you at least give yourself some hope after Roethlisberger is gone. More than that, you also give him a couple of seasons to learn the NFL system, sitting on the sideline, getting used to the NFL game. Is Ben Roethlisberger going to take him aside and tutor him? Probably not, nor should I necessarily expect him to, but at least he's going to get time to get used to the NFL game. You hope after Roethlisberger retires in 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons, whenever it is, you've already got somebody there to replace him. That may not mean much to Ben Roethlisberger, but it means a lot to Steelers fans, and it means a lot to the Steelers organization. Having somebody back there that you think can at least give you a chance in the future as he learns and grows gives you at least some hope. It's not a guarantee. There's no guarantee that he's going to be any kind of an NFL quarterback at all, but it at least gives you a chance, and all you spent on it was not a first-round pick, not a second-round pick. You spent one third-round pick on this, and this is a really smart thing for the Steelers to do. It's a great investment. Now, let's get into why the Steelers did it again. Ben Roethlisberger himself, during the 2016 offseason, talked about retirement. Don't know how close he ever really got to it, but we do know that it was discussed. He himself has admitted that more than once. During the 2017 offseason, the same thing. Ben Roethlisberger openly discussed with the media talking about retirement. Even in January of this year, January of 2018, when he was asked about it, he said, "I would consider playing longer, but I'm just taking it 1 year at a time." Now, I'm not accusing Ben Roethlisberger of being false with the Steelers. I'm not accusing him of communicating to them otherwise than what he already has. I do believe at some point he probably told them he would like to play another 3 years. He came out this week and said maybe another 3 to 5 years. I don't see any reason why Ben Roethlisberger, if he doesn't want to, can't play another 5 years. Mason Rudolph is basically no threat to Ben Roethlisberger as long as Roethlisberger wants to play and is relatively healthy. But there may come a time when Ben Roethlisberger simply decides he's had enough, and he may not give the Steelers a whole lot of notice about that. His current contract only runs through 2019. So even if he were to have already decided he would like to play longer, he has not sat down and renegotiated a new contract with the Steelers to take him anywhere past 2019. So the Steelers have retirement talk in 16, retirement talk in 17, even in January of 18, the Steelers are hearing Ben Roethlisberger say, "I'm only taking it 1 year at a time." What else are the Steelers supposed to do besides actually take a look at what else they might do after Roethlisberger retires? Two more things and we're done with this video. If Ben Roethlisberger was really serious about adding more talent to the team, then he could have sat down and lowered his salary cap number. Take a look at this. Ben Roethlisberger is worth every single penny that the Steelers are paying him. I want to repeat that. Ben Roethlisberger is worth every single penny that the Steelers are paying him. He is not the highest paid quarterback in the NFL, but he has always been paid very well, and deservedly so. He's led the Steelers to Super Bowls and to Super Bowl victories, and he has consistently led them to the playoffs time after time after time. They have featured, over the past few years, one of the best offenses in the NFL. The Steelers, likewise, have surrounded him with weapons on the offensive line, at wide receiver, at running back, and have consistently paid those weapons very, very well. Roethlisberger has performed very, very well also. In 2008, he signed a 6-year, $88 million. Made a ton of money. 2015, 4 years, $87 million. That's a lot of numbers, so let's look at the yearly cap number. 2015, he made $17.2 million. The next year, it jumped up to 24. 17, that was last season, he made $18.2 million. 2018, the next 2 seasons, he is slated to make $23.2 million. I would not suggest that Roethlisberger should give back a penny of that. He, again, is worth every single penny of that. But if he was really serious about wanting to try to upgrade the team in order to get some more victories or another chance at a Super Bowl, he could at least consider giving back some of the money, renegotiating a contract so the Steelers could sign a free agent or two, which would have a lot more impact than a third-round draft pick at number 76 overall. Usually, third-round draft picks do not result in a whole lot of extra playing time or contributions the next season anyway. Third-round draft picks have a tendency to be an investment for the following 2 seasons or 3 seasons. Some of them very well do turn out to be starters, get serious playing time, and have a good time in their rookie season. But for the most part, third-round draft picks tend to be either an investment in the depth of the franchise, or hopefully you're getting a starter out of it in year 2 or year 3. So even if they had to use this on another guy at number 76, he probably would not have made that huge of an impact anyway. I've heard several different writers try to talk about Roethlisberger being correct, that you could get a lot of good football players at number 76 overall. You can get some decent football players at number 76 overall. They tend not to have a very high impact in their rookie season, even though some of them can. If Roethlisberger really wanted to try to make a difference, he could have given back some of his money. I don't blame him for not. If I was him, I wouldn't give a penny back. I wouldn't renegotiate my contract at all. I would keep every dime I had, but I would understand that Steelers fans would like to win after he's gone, and Rudolph gives them at least a glimmer of hope that that can happen. So that's something that Ben Roethlisberger really needs to get adjusted to and just move on. He doesn't have to like it. He doesn't have to tutor Mason. He doesn't have to do any of those happy jump up and down things, but he at least needs to understand that life goes on after he retires, and that the organization and the fans would like for life after Ben to be just as good as it was with life when Ben was around. So you might say, why in the world would he do this? Tom Brady has done this for years. For years, Tom Brady has been middle of the pack paid for quarterbacks, and for years, Tom Brady has watched his team be able to add a veteran or two during each offseason, not a high number guy, but a decent veteran guy or two, and that contributes to the overall team depth. I'm not saying Roethlisberger should do that. I wouldn't do that. I would keep every dime I was given. But it's a fact that Tom Brady, time and again, over the past 15 years, has taken a lot less money than he could have made. He could be the highest paid quarterback every single season if he wanted to be, and instead he takes about 2/3 of what he really should be making. So for Roethlisberger to complain about 1 third-round draft pick being spent on a backup quarterback is just not showing a lot of sympathy for Pittsburgh Steelers fans and for the organization, who, for all they know, even though he may be telling them in secret meetings that he would like to play another 3 seasons, for all they know, he may wake up one day in the 2019 offseason or the 2020 offseason and say, you know what, it's been great, but I'm gone. So the Steelers here have done the absolute right thing. It's a good investment. It's a smart investment. It's the right way to go. And the Steelers, Steelers fans rather, should be excited that they've got a front office who is willing to take a step like this. Of course they knew that this would upset Big Ben. Of course any NFL team knows when you've got a veteran quarterback and you draft one to go up behind him, you know that that's probably going to upset the starting guy. But the Steelers office did the right thing and had enough stones, enough cojones to actually step up and do this. So bravo to the Steelers. I wish Big Ben the best. I hope over the next couple of seasons he just has a tremendous amount of success on the field, and hope the Steelers fans get to enjoy him for another couple of seasons. I'm Ben Parker. This is Sports and Money. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye.